Welcome back to a new video. Today was a good day of training. Yesterday was not too bad, considering the previous few days. I was going through it with only threw up twice technically, but it was each night. And so Saturday night my sleep was really bad. Sunday night my sleep wasn't good until I threw up, and then it was fantastic. I ended up sleeping like 10 hours in total. And then Monday I felt good, but did not feel very strong, and the weights felt heavy, and was just getting smashed by weights that, I mean, logically it made sense because I was physically weakened from the previous few days. But I thought, and I made a community post about this, that today would be a good day to kind of reset and back to lighter weights, back to volume, kind of how I did before. And I'm trying to be a little bit more intelligent with the squatting progression. So it's not, I think before it wasn't necessarily bad, but it was taking up too much of my recovery for the main lifts. And not that it made the main lifts necessarily bad, but I want to have a better balance and not just hammer myself with squats, which at that point when I originally started that kind of squat progression, it was more so to force myself not to do as much classic lifts because I was trying to get my shoulder to feel as good as it can. And I think I was successful at that, but I kind of had to dial that back a little bit, or at least, change progression a little bit. And if you look at that community post, I did link my little website so you can see the exact progression that I'm going to be following for the next 3 weeks, or at least, the skeleton plan that I have now. And I say skeleton, but there's a lot of meat on the bones of it. Just a lot of things could change. And on this day, decided to work up to 85 kilos and do that for, well, it was originally 5 doubles. I ended up pushing up on the 4th set to 88, kind of like a weightlifting AI type jump. But I think for snatches, I need to get better at taking random jumps. Not, I say random, but like in between 5 number increments, and not just always going up 5 or 10 kilos. I think that'd be better. But I did 88 and then 91, where I randomly missed the second rep, but then came back and made it. Did some push press as well, up to 110 for a triple. Similar thing, but because it's an upper body movement, I think I can justify taking bigger jumps with that. Then did 3 sets of 10 at 140 back squat, and 5 sets of 3 in the cluster in the snatch pulls. And I actually got a pretty good cardio from that. But I got some interesting news today. So earlier today, I went to the dentist, and I have not gone in, I think, 5 years. At least that's what I put in my form, and I think that is accurate. At least it's the last time that I could think that I would have went, because I had an appointment scheduled and I overslept and didn't go, and that was prior to COVID, and then COVID happened, and I just got in the routine of not going. And I found out one good thing and 4 bad things. So the first good thing is my blood pressure is actually really good. As I went in the middle of the day today, so I had coffee and wasn't really stressed or anything, but I think it was like 123 over 78 or something, but it was a good range, so I was pleasantly surprised. I haven't had blood pressure in a while. That's another thing I'm trying to take care of. I'm trying to get a primary care physician, trying to find one and schedule appointments, so that's been on my plate to try to do, and I'm actually trying to do it. So I'm not just saying that I am. I'm actively calling people and stuff. It's just strangely difficult to find one, but thankfully I have good insurance, so I have a large selection of people that I can reach out to, and I'll find someone eventually. But it is kind of annoying. But the dentist was the first thing. Eye doctor, which I've actually been pretty good about over the years. That's the next appointment that I have scheduled. So, all the normal stuff that I think is good for people to do, I'm trying to do as well. And the 4 bad things, as you can imagine, if you go to the dentist, bad things that you could hear are cavities. And I actually have 4 cavities on the left side of my mouth, which is interesting, because I've never had a cavity in general before, but also to have them all on the same side is kind of odd. They said I was potentially grinding a little bit on my bottom teeth, so that's something that I need to pay attention to make sure, because I don't think I physically can grind my teeth when I sleep, because I'm a pretty bad mouth breather in general, but when I sleep, my mouth is always pretty open. I've never really slept with a closed mouth in general, so I don't think I necessarily grind my teeth when I sleep. I think it's something I probably do a little bit when I'm conscious or when I'm awake, going through my day. So something I want to pay attention to and make sure I'm not randomly, just biting down on my teeth or anything like that. And so that could be, stress related or whatever with that, because it's something I never really thought about before, but I don't think they were too concerned about that because it wasn't a major thing, but something to pay attention to. And one of the reasons why it's good to, go every 6 months and, get it cleaning and whatnot. But I have to go in a couple weeks to get I suppose the fillings. I do suppose positive is that I have not had any symptoms of cavities. So no tooth sensitivity or difficulty with food or anything like that. So it's something that I don't want to say necessarily is a new issue, but something that hasn't been extreme. And that's, I think, because I brush and floss on a regular basis, and I've always been good about that over the years. So it's not I think it's truly me not going to the dentist for a number of years that led to this issue, and not necessarily dental habits, but they could always be improved. And I think that's another reason to go, is you can kind of reinforce, positive habits and kind of doing a little bit extra versus not doing as much as maybe you could. Because it's you're not gonna. I mean, I suppose you can overbrush and overfloss and stuff, but generally you're not gonna, overbrush your teeth or whatever. If you brush in an extra time randomly, it's not the end of the world. It's not gonna ruin your gums or anything like that. Obviously, if you become OCD and brush your teeth 35 times a day, then you kind of have the overuse problem. But for most people, myself included, that's not really the concern. Here are the 3 sets of 10, kind of did them bodybuilder style. I feel like I did them like this before, where I wasn't really going all the way up, and just kind of not necessarily for any particular reason, trying to keep tension or anything like that, but just to get the sets done a little bit faster. And I suppose there's some of the secondary benefits of the constant tension and stuff as well. But I'm happy with how these moved, and was really focused, obviously, on basic squat mechanics, but on trying to make sure my feet were symmetrical. I noticed on the first set my right foot was a little bit forward, and what's interesting, my legs feel really good after this session as far as quad tennis and stuff. Not that it hasn't really been a major issue or anything, but that's one thing I noticed when I did the high reps before, is that my quad tendons felt really happy after. So I think that's something I need to keep in mind, is that the high reps, while they are difficult, they are kind of good for me for that reason, almost like knee rehab in a sense. But yeah, so I got to get the teeth fixed in a couple weeks, and thankfully I'm not too worried about I don't have pain or anything, so I don't think the cavities are crazy deep or anything like that. But I guess something to pay attention to, make sure I'm not biting down throughout the day or chewing just on my left side. Apparently that's what I do. Didn't realize that, but it's good to learn those things. And hopefully when I get the annual physical that I'm trying to schedule as well, because much like my teeth, I just haven't done that in years. I think the last time I had any sort of physical was when I was in college for baseball, maybe. So early in my college career as well, so it's been a good while. But thankfully, if my blood pressure is an indicator, I'm in generally good health. And man, I sure hope so, as I lift weights damn near every day. And you see with sets here, it's I'm not just doing singles. I hit some volume occasionally, and with my current job, I walk around quite a bit as well. So I'm not just lifting weights as my only form of exercise. I actually get a lot of movement as well. And even in this session, because I was only at school for half the day since I went to the dentist, I decided to walk before and after this training session. So I just walked for 10 minutes and not necessarily attempting to increase my heart rate or anything like that. I noticed my heart rate went up a lot. I guess it kind of makes sense, but after the squats and the pulls, my heart rate was pretty high. So that's probably where I'm probably getting some of the cardiovascular benefits. But I don't necessarily try to walk super fast or anything like that, nor do I really think I need to. I think I get enough cardio from doing these sets like clusters. I honestly think that's kind of a cheap, free form of cardio for weightlifters, is just do your pulls like this, where you kind of just rest enough. And that's here, I'm literally just trying to catch my breath, because as you can imagine from the 3x10 squats, I was pretty gassed from those. In the background there, you can see Dylan. he used to train all the time here, and I don't know if this is his first session back, but it was nice to see him back. I hadn't seen him in quite a while. He said he had lost a bunch of weight, and not really on purpose, because he wasn't training. But hopefully we see him back more often. He's really good at deadlifts and just all around. He's one of the main powerlifters that were in there a lot. But nice. It was a nice surprise to see him in there. Yeah, these pulls are all at, I hope they're 110. That's what looking at the weights, making sure that they're correct. We're all at 110. Another adjustment that I'm making with this 3-week progression. So tomorrow will be similar. I think I had a day like this last week in a video where I just did muscle snatches and overhead squats and like full cleans with straps and overhead press. So like a really light training session as far as the weight. But I also want to start adding in on those days. So not only that session where it's light, but potentially more cardio, maybe not. The way I try to differentiate on those days is if I know it's going to be a light training day, I don't necessarily try to do more when I'm teaching as far as movement, but I don't limit myself, and I try to do a little bit more. Like I don't necessarily go crazy and run around or jog while I'm teaching or anything like that, but I just think to move a little bit more, try to make sure I have 10,000 steps when I leave school, or at least I'm close to it. Not that I necessarily think that's an end all be all number, but just to increase my energy expenditure on a day where I'm not going to be training as hard, but also on that day to potentially add ab work as well as accessory work on those days as well. So have that day focused on mobility, accessories, and cardio, kind of things that are probably just generally important to do, but also probably good for training, and probably for me in particular, good to have a day like days like that, I should say, because there's multiple in my plan, but have days like that to where I can work on something that's important, mobility, that's going to be beneficial, and I can still train. I can also do it at the house no matter what the temperature is, and still get some other beneficial work in, such as abs and more cardio or just more energy expenditure on those days. The goal right now is still to gain weight. I'm cautiously trying to add food back in. I think today is the big test day. I had a little bit of Taco Bell. So if my stomach explodes, then I know that I'm back to square one. But honestly, I feel good now. After I threw up on, I guess it was technically early Monday, but like midnight Sunday night, I went to bed and I felt so much better. And then I woke up and I knew that like I was through the thick of it. I was 100% like good. Just felt weak as far as like lifting weights, and that's something I always experience, so it's not the end of the world with that. But the next heavy day, or at least the next training session like this, will be Wednesday. And you can kind of look ahead in that plan. And if you do happen to go ahead and look at it, obviously if you want to copy stuff, I don't really care, but it's it's there to look at. But if you have suggestions or things that you see that don't make sense, or just anything that you have thoughts about, you can always look at there. I want to try, I'll probably create a new tab on there. And if you're listening to this point in the video, you're a dedicated viewer, so you get this little extra insight. But I'm going to put an extra tab on there and copy and paste everything onto it, but what actual weights that I did. And the reason for that is so the formulas that I have, because I'm just putting a percentage in and it's plopping the weight for me, and I'm kind of guesstimating the percentage based on the weight that I'm going to do. So so I can look at the percentages and kind of think I'm going to increase the percentage each week, and then I kind of linear progresses everything. But on that second tab, I'm just going to put the actual weights that I did. So obviously the formula or the equations, the formulas, whatchamacallit, they'll get messed up from me putting that stuff in. But that will be kind of like the actual training log, and then I'll adjust things in like the clean format, so it doesn't get messed up with there. Because like today, I didn't do all the sets at 85 kilos, I pushed up to 88, 91, same with like push press. So like there's going to be differences like that, because I still want to give myself the flexibility. That's one thing that I've taken from the weightlifting AI, is that you should establish that you can do a weight correctly and not just easily. I think that's what I need to be more strict at, is doing it correctly and easily, but also very much correctly, multiple times and then add weight a little bit in smaller increments, particularly on volume days like this. But anywho, those are my thoughts for this training session. So I get some cavities filled in a couple weeks, and hopefully no more cavities for me. I just gotta make sure I guess I'm more stringent about brushing my teeth, and potentially, brush my teeth when I get home from the gym and stuff, and then again after dinner. So maybe add that additional time, because I have been really good over the years. So it's that, and probably go to the dentist more often than at once every 5 years. That'd probably be helpful too. One of the two, but hopefully both. But anywho, I've rambled on here long enough. So if you made it to this point, I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you all the next one. Peace.